can't do it, but that's okay, because Yoda was wrong, there is a try. And it's in this box. I finally got my hands on the Galaxy Z TriFold, and I have been daily driving the Galaxy Z Fold 7 in preparation so I could be ready for this. But other than that, I have learned as little about this as humanly possible, other than I read a couple of articles because I couldn't help it. I am so excited. Inside this box, I get case and accessory. Surprisingly honest. See, phones these days don't come with accessories, they just come with accessory if you're lucky. What's in here? USB 2 cable, typical, which is weird because this phone comes with freaking everything, from a free screen protector replacement to a discounted full-on screen replacement to VIP treatment at Samsung service centers to even a dedicated helpline. And they couldn't include a USB 3 cable. Let's have a look at the case. If it's anything like every other folding phone case, it's gonna kind of suck, but that seems to be real carbon fiber, which is pretty cool. Huh. Is it though? It's not light. It's a really convincing fake if it's fake. Is that it? Accessory was more honest than I wanted it to be. Since basically the beginning of my career as a tech YouTuber, I've been waiting for these future display technologies to finally make it onto devices you'd actually want to own. And I think I might have to wait a little bit longer while I find out if there's any more accessories in here. Ah, a 45-watt power adapter. Thank you, Samsung. But hey, at least it's included. That's pretty nice. Wow. The screen is so big. This is a tablet that folds up and fits in your, oh my God, I almost folded it wrong. Apparently there's a warning if you fold it wrong, but I guess if it's not powered on, there's no warning, so that's cool, that's good. It's a little heavy, but I think I could be convinced that it's a reassuring sort of heavy. And the difference in thickness is not too bad. You can kind of catch it, right? Like you can kind of catch it on the thumb right there, but it doesn't distract when you're just holding the device. So this one's 4.2 millimeters, this one's 4.0, and this one's 3.9. It's so thin that when you fold it, it is still not that much thicker than the Fold 7. It's thicker, but like, how did they manage to make the individual components even thinner and still manage to pack in a Snapdragon 8 Elite Galaxy Edition, so it's like kind of a tuned Gen 4, along with 16 gigs of RAM, up to a terabyte of storage, a 200 megapixel main camera. Actually, I can see how they packed that in. They just put a big camera pump on it. And it's IP48 water and dust resistant. This thing is incredible. Oh, there's 4 more cameras that I haven't mentioned yet. They've got a 12 and 10 megapixel, that's ultra wide and optical telephoto at the back, as well as 2 more 10 megapixel cameras, one on the cover screen, and then another one as a hole punch on the main screen. We've got a USB Type-C port, and you can see this thing is as thin as anything could possibly be while still having a Type-C port on it. We've got a speaker here, so, oh, interesting. I see why they had to do that, but that's gonna mean that it's optimized for vertical content consumption if I want stereo sound? Duh! On the top, which is I guess the side, we've got another speaker as well as all the noise canceling microphones. On the right, we've got a fingerprint sensing lock button. I can see that they've actually upgraded this a little bit compared to the Z Fold 7. It sits a little bit more proud, and it has like an indent here that allows you to landmark it a little more easily. I have a really hard time finding this for fingerprint sensing sometimes, as well as a volume rocker, and then over on the left side, we've got, oh wow, a SIM tray. Huh, Apple couldn't put one in the air, but Samsung managed to put one in a trifold. Show-offs. Shut up, dual SIM, and it has a 5,600 milliamp hour battery in there? Wow, I like it. I wanna daily this thing so bad. Let's turn it on. Oh, and let's thank our sponsor, dbrand. So, the funny thing, the Galaxy Z TriFold isn't actually available in Canada or the US right now, but for reasons that I'd rather not know, dbrand somehow happens to have a stockpile of them. So shout out dbrand for hooking us up, and also shout out dbrand for hooking one of you up. They are giving away a Galaxy Z TriFold right now over on their website. It is super simple to get a chance to win. All you gotta do is place an order today on the day this video goes up, and you're entered. Any order placed since Christmas has also been eligible, by the way, including for their brand new Sketch 2D skins. They just launched these for a bunch of devices, including all the major smartphones, the Switch 2, the Steam Deck, AirPods, and yes, the Z TriFold. Wait, they're making Z TriFold skins? For who? Doesn't matter. The point is, if you want to pick up some Sketch 2D skins and get entered to win a super rare trifold phone, you know where to go. shortlinus.com. Oh my God, it's glorious. 10 inches. Or as I call it, way too big. You don't need that, but I do. It's hard to get a proper sense of the scale next to these childlike hands, but like, this is an iPhone 17. It's literally the guy she tells you not to worry about. Like, look at this thing. It's a monster, even when it's folded. Okay, it's a little on the chunky side. She wobbles even harder than an iPhone if you try to use her on the table. But like, you know, as a 90s kid, I'm looking at this form factor going, yeah, I could use that. Sure, I could do that. It is thick though, 12.9 millimeters to be precise. But unlike other foldable devices, which in my mind are more useful for productivity or like retro content consumption, because you know, you can find videos that are 4:3 aspect ratio, this actually unfolds in a way that genuinely gives you a bigger screen. Like when you expand this, you're not actually getting a wider picture than you already had, right? But when you expand this, this is awesome. I would actually have to use the split keyboard though, which I don't bother with on my Z Fold 7. Like I'll just reach, but there's no way that I'm doing that on this. It does up to 120 hertz refresh rate, so you get that nice smooth scrolling. It'll do up to 1600 nits HDR, which is pretty far off of the brightest displays these days, but more than acceptable for how a lot of content is mastered, and it'll actually do up to 2600 nits on the cover display, which we'll talk about later. And the resolution, which I haven't mentioned yet, is 2160 by 1584. So this is like having a taller, slightly above 1080p resolution, but at this size, that is really fine. Man, I like it a lot. The question is just, do I like it in theory or do I actually like it in practice? See, I've been daily driving the GPD Win 5 lately. Cool handheld device, great performance. Lot of day-to-day practical issues though. And I do wonder if this would be full of the same things. See, unlike the Huawei Mate X-T, which can be used on the cover screen like this, or with just two like this, or completely unfolded, the Trifold can only be used either on the cover screen, which, did I mention Gorilla Glass ceramic too? This stuff is incredible. Like everything should be made of it. It's so hard to scratch. I'm gonna put Zach from Jerry everything out of a job. Yeah, so either cover screen or the full screen. Also, oh, I didn't actually notice this before, but the Mate X-T has a slightly wider, more media consumption friendly aspect ratio too. Oh man, can you believe these are phones, dude? That's freaking nuts. That's also a really cool fold action, whereas this is like, you know what? That's pretty satisfying too. Oh, and how many times could you do that? I'm not gonna test it, but somebody already did. What was it, like 150,000 folds they got to, I think? Before it like really started to fall apart. There are some drawbacks to Huawei's design. It leaves the display edge exposed, which probably not the greatest thing for durability. What else can we say about the Samsung? They're using some kind of special super durable aluminum for the frame, as well as titanium in the hinge. I feel like I'm at my command station. I gotta look back and forth for my keyboard. All right, we're switched to a calibrated mode. Let's fire something up here. This is insane. For this to be something that you can carry around in your pocket, like, see, I love the Fold for spreadsheets. Here's our WAN topic checklist. So here's what it looks like if I'm on a regular phone. That sucks. Boom. Now I can see all my, you know, what's gonna be rapid fire, what's gonna be main topic. This is very usable, you know? But for content, it's just marginally larger than a regular phone. It is still a little bit larger than watching on the cover screen, just not by as much as you would want it to be. The point that I'm trying to get to is that, yes, a Fold is a bigger content watching experience than a regular phone, but only marginally. So 2 is not double of 1, but 3 is much, much greater than 2, if that kind of makes sense. I'd say this is about like going from a 55-inch TV to like a 75-inch TV. It is an enormous difference in usability. Here's the challenge though. That looks great. Wow, is that incredible or what? Freaking love it, but we're basically asking people, instead of carrying around a sort of folding phone that is still about the size and weight and shape of a phone, we're asking people to carry around a tablet that does fold, but isn't really the typical weight of a phone anymore, and certainly not the typical thickness. The more I hold it, the more I think the thickness could be a deal breaker for some people. I mean, let's think about what is successful out there in the market. There are phones that are this thick. In fact, we covered one of them on ShortCircuit quite recently. It had like, what is it, like 3 weeks of battery, or something like that it was rated for? That exists, but very few people choose to buy that. So in a world where products like the iPhone Air aren't necessarily massively successful, but clearly people have rejected super thick devices, I do wonder if this is going to struggle to find an audience. That's a cool feature. Here it is. If you start to fold the wrong way, it's all like, no, no, and it vibrates and stuff. We should try the speakers. I was not a fan of the positioning of them, but who knows? Maybe they'll blow me away with their quality. Oh my God, how awesome is that? Okay, but like how usable is it from like a, can you like, no, you can't really like use it as a stand or anything. Yeah, that's not gonna be a thing, okay. That's a little disappointing because one of the features that Samsung is touting for this is the ability to use DeX, their desktop experience, for the first time without connecting to an external monitor. You can just use DeX, plug in a keyboard, mouse, and just go. They also tout the multitasking as a major feature. So here, we can actually do that right now. So you can either multitask like you would on a regular Samsung device where you just go into the multitasking interface and you just be like, yeah, sure. Or you can create a desktop layout like this. Ah, yes, wonderful. Boop, and then also a browser. Yes, success. And then you can do like window snapping and stuff. Oh yeah. I still haven't tried the speakers. Yep, those are definitely where the speakers are, so that's something. I mean, it prevents you from accidentally blocking them with your hands, so that's a plus. I don't know what I expected, but no bass. They didn't have a lot of room to work with. They're a compromise. What about the cameras though? Fold 7 cameras. Actually been pretty happy with it. Clearly not as good as my wife's iPhone, but fine. Oh, we're gonna have no context. We're on a new set. Well, all right. I don't need a lot of context to know that this is not the finest camera that I've ever seen. But what I can tell you is that, boy, am I ever gonna be able to look at that picture bigger than I ever have before. Look at that quality right there. Pretty decent detail retention. It's not terrible, but it is worth noting that 200 megapixels does not mean that it is, 200 times the quality of a 1 megapixel camera. That's just not how that works even a little bit. A little bit washed out colors, but not bad. Dynamic range is actually pretty okay as well. Very usable. What about video though? Can you imagine someone going around recording video like this? Recording portrait video like this? So awful. Okay, anyway. So this is how you'd record landscape video. Look at the black bars. Oh, Lordy. They need to use Apple Square sensor technology or something like that because that is not the greatest experience what I'm doing right now. Yeah, in typical Android fashion, motion handling just isn't as good as an iPhone, but colors, other than being overjuiced just a little bit, not that bad. Ooh, how about the selfie camera? Well, how about the selfie cameras? There's a couple. So first we got our hole punch. Oh, wow. Oh, that's hilarious. Right, see, because the camera is over here. So if you hold it centered, it's like that. Okay, I can do better then. That's not bad. How about the cover one? See, I'm just imagining myself pulling this out at like my grandparents' place when I'm trying to show them pictures and they go, oh, let me get my glasses. And they like can't see anything I'm showing them. If I could just, boom, grandma and grandpa, cool picture of, your daughter or cool video of your son playing volleyball or whatever. Game changer. Really looking forward to trying this. You can already tell there's gonna be some little bugginess in the experience. And also, Samsung, what is this? Someone help me out, I need a tech tip because I've got mirroring for my icons and there doesn't appear to be a way to have them be over here where my thumb is. So if anyone has a tech tip in the comments, please hit me up because I do not want them there, but I do want to use mirroring. Oh yeah, I never actually tried the case. Here, we'll put that on. Yep, that's the thing that goes over a fraction of the device. Cool. But what does it all cost? Well, there is no US availability and therefore no US pricing yet. And same goes for Canada where I am. But we can convert the pricing from Korea and it works out to about $2,500 US dollars, which puts it pretty close to the Mate XT Ultimate. Not that, as far as I know, you can even get this outside of China or this outside of South Korea anyway, so it's not like you'll exactly be shopping between the two of them. I think that's all I can say for now without really trying to daily drive the thing. Will an Android tablet, because you know how popular those are, be enough to be worth carrying around a brick of an Android phone for? What a question. Moon pies. What a time to be alive. Subscribe to Short Circuit.